Hi guys, so let's cover if-else statements that I couldn't really cover very well because of the time constraints in one of the last calls in DICE. If-else statements or if-else control flow is one of the most important concepts of Python programming languages. And for beginners, it really means that if you learn if-else statements, you are very close to be able to get to the intermediate level of Python programming. So before we learn the if-else statements today, there are a few concepts that I wanted to cover. So obviously one of the concepts is the concept of range. But let's understand the requirements. So what we want to do today is print up to 5. But if number that we want to print is equals to 4, then we stop printing up to 5. Stop there. The moment we print 4, we stop. We don't proceed printing anything beyond 5. If number equals to 2, then we just say it's 2. And then if the number is anything other than 2 or 4, we say other number. So this is the logic that we want to follow or build in our program. So first of all, we need to understand how the range works. In Python, range works from 0 to 4. When you say print up to 5, it actually prints up to 0 to 4. So let's say you have a range where you want to print 5. So you want to print up to 5, but then again, you will notice in the result, it won't actually print 5. It will stop at printing 4. My computer is really slow. So you'll see it stops printing at 4 because Python starts at 0 and stops at 4. But now let's say you want to print up to the range of 1 to 5. This is also very interesting because you'd see it actually doesn't really print 5. So it actually stops printing at 4 because even though it's said explicitly that you print up to 1 to 5, it considers printing from 0 to 5, but it just don't print the 0 because it assumes the 0 is eliminated and it doesn't really go to the 5. It actually goes up to 4 and then stops there. But let's say you want to print up to 5, then what do? You then just print up to 6. So in your range, you mentioned very clearly and explicitly print from 1 to 6. If you do so, then you would see you are actually printing 1 to 5. So it's very interesting that in Python, you don't print from 1, you print from 0. But then again, if you explicitly ask the Python code to print from 1 to 5, it would print 1 to 5, but under the hood, it would calculate printing from 0 to 5th position, but then again, it would just give you 1 to 5th position in return as a values or as results. So this is interesting. So let's say now we want to build our logic based on this. So we're printing from 1 to 5. Thus we have mentioned print from 1 to 6. So if we look at the very first condition. If number equals to 4, what do? Then we break the condition. We don't move any further. We just stop there. If number is equals to 4, then we stop there. Else if number equals to 2, what do? We say print 2. And then after that we say else, because everything else other than 4 and 2 is going to be other number, right? So when it's printing 1 or printing 3, or yeah, then it's going to print 4. You will notice one thing, it will stop at printing 4. That means it will not stop. When the number is 4, it will stop there and it will not print anything more than 4. So it will not print 5 at all. So that's the requirement, and that is intentional. So we want to do that. We don't want to print anything beyond that. So if you just run our file, so when it's printing number 1, it says other number. When it's printing number 2, it says it's number 2, and when it's printing number 3, it's just saying other number. And then when it goes to number 4, it just breaks. It doesn't really print anything. So we're not printing anything, we're just breaking it. No prints, nothing, just stop there. So that's the requirement. So we actually have 3 outputs instead of 6 outputs. Instead of printing 5 outputs, we just have 3 outputs. So that's intentional. So if you really want to know, like, or go a bit deeper into it, let's say we want to literally see what the number is next to our value, right? So the F string actually means within that quotation mark, you can print the value from the function or the program. So save it again. Now try to print. This F function is sort of like a way of saying format the text. And within that format, I will be able to access the variables from the code or the program file or wherever. So see, I can access the variable from my for loop, where the variable num has been set to have a certain value from the range. And I have got the value of 1, 2, and 3 printed out, and we don't print anything at 4 because we're just breaking it. What if I tell it to print something and then break it? That is also possible. So we can say